Hi everyone, welcome back to Railroad Corporation 2 and our next episode in this series of Let's Play. So basically what's happened since we've been gone? So there's been a bit more of a kind of focused effort on the local area. You may recall in the previous episode I kind of touched on expanding further afield, and that has kind of been left alone for now. It's kind of ticking over as it wants to, but I was concentrating more on the local area, and also and specifically one of the things I mentioned before was that you probably find in stations that your trains are waiting to find a track. And I said that obviously with the train station you've got 5 tracks, and obviously if you're going from one station to the next, in theory you would only have 5 tracks running each way, and that's probably where you get your clogging up of trains. Now obviously as time goes on, the better trains there are, the less you probably would need, especially in this sort of time period, late 1800s, early 1900s. Purely and simply for the fact being is that the need isn't there so much. But in the meantime, what I decided to do, and I said I'd show you what I do, is to try and expand the network on a kind of route basis. So if you can see here, we have the 5 tracks coming from the train station of Livermore, and each track then expands into 2, or split into 2. So there's a split there, and there is a split here, here, and here. So you've now got 10 tracks running up and down between Anaheim, and then obviously they all come back in together to form 5 single ones coming into the station. And that's fine, because basically it's better that a train waits here for this one to come past or go out than it is to wait at each station. So you are then getting those trains out quicker. It did mean then that I actually didn't no longer needed to have an extra route going around the back end of Anaheim Coal. So basically I just kind of maintained those as it was. I did the same between Livermore and Torrance, because I was having the same issues. There are 8 tracks running through here. So as you can see, they come back together at the end, but there are multiple more tracks. And this is because even if they're going on further to Arvada or they're going across to Flower Mound, the most of the traffic seems to be these 3 stations. So that was the first thing. The second thing, as you can see in Livermore, this town is growing rapidly. I've been trying to kind of utilize the facilities that we've got to expand further. So for example, we now have a textile factory and a bread factory. We're no longer shipping cotton down to Anaheim. It was pointless. It wasn't generating anything. And in fact, to be honest, I've got a feeling, I know it's still ticking over, but I'm probably close to closing that one down. Purely and simply because I'm just not, there isn't the materials to spare to send down by train. And as you can see here, it needs 3 cotton for every piece of material for clothing, and basically I'm just not generating enough trains, and there's too much traffic going on here as it is. So the likelihood is we will shut this factory down and we'll put something else in its place. As you can see, we have in Anaheim an oil refinery, because I found through geology an oil well. So that was kind of useful. So Anaheim is already starting to grow there, and also the coal. So again, you've got a coal mine, but again, these small towns or little hamlets that turn into towns are growing quite quickly. What else is growing quickly? Livermore Oil is growing really fast at the moment, because again, it's another oil unit that I found, and that's feeding into to Livermore itself. And I haven't yet built a oil refinery, but I think that will be on the list at some point. Livermore Coal is the same. It is building quite a bit. But the thing is with this one is I'm actually got a closed factory, and the reason why I've done that is basically the cotton that's coming in from Torrance, coming into Livermore, is now being converted into the textile factory here. And then I've also got a farm for the purposes of the grain, surplus grain. So that's generating some hide or leather, actually leather, that's right. So the leather and the material is going across to make clothes, and then those clothes will go back into the town. So this is kind of why I'm sort of focusing more closely on the local area rather than expanded. Although I will say I had before I made this video, I have expanded down to West Jordan because I wanted some quartz, and also to Novato. Reason that is that there's a glassworks. Now that glass then will then go back to. I got a feeling it's going to go back over here. No, it's one of the, oh yes, here we go. So it's going to go eventually. This will then be turned into a distillery. So we'll have a whiskey distillery from the green and the glass to make the whiskey, and that will be another item that we can put in there and start shipping out. So I mentioned before, like I said, it's entirely up to you how you play your game. You expand as you see fit. I've been expanding all along, but I've now suddenly stopped with my expansion and trying to concentrate on the local area that I'm in at the moment. And then once I feel I'm satisfied that this area is self-sufficient, I will then move further afield. What I've also done is really ramped up the research. So as you can see, I'm literally probably just under halfway across the research now, which is now we've got a mogul train available. I haven't bothered with the mason bogey because the mogul does carry more and is about the same sort of price. But yes, we are literally ramping up the research with the view that eventually we get to electrification, which means we can have electric trains. These here. That's still quite a way away, but it's kind of like, as you see, I've got 8 members of staff doing research. So again, it's literally, doing what you can. I'm not going to do anything with this one because it's going to increase the price of the locomotive for now, and I'm not going to do anything with that one because that's also going to increase the price. So it's possible I'll probably look at that in a minute. But in the meantime, I'm heading towards. In fact, no, I do need to go this route because I need the top end to unlock the 10-wheeler. So we're going to do that. We'll do the mason bogey. We'll do all the research there, and then we can unlock the 10-wheeler, and that'll give us a moving point. Also with geology, we've been lucky. In fact, literally, I've just noticed that now there's a quartz plot that's been discovered, so I can use that quartz plot for purposes of as I said, regarding glass. But there are also other things that quartz can be used for. So again, I've not done much in the way of this kind of exploration on geology so far, apart from the local area, but it's come up quite useful. There's a clay plot here as well, which I haven't utilised yet because I need to go further afield to do that, but I will be doing that. So I'm just dealing with close stuff first of all, and then go from here. So let's just double check. I think all these have been explored. That's been explored. This one hasn't because it needs 3 geologists on a level 3, and I've only got 2. And again, that one I can do. So I can do that one. Level 3 geologists on level 2. So let's just get the ball rolling on that one. And 2 level 1s. And again, what will happen eventually is that once I've done the all exploration as far as geology is concerned, I will be firing the staff. I don't need them anymore. What else can we do around here? Another 3 and 1. So again, I can do the same with this one. Do exactly the same again. So I can have 2 plots being investigated at the same time. I had 4, I think, at one point before. So that's where geology is coming along. Lobbying, again, I'm lobbying as much as I can where needed. Obviously, when you do lobby in a town, for industry land especially, you have to wait about a year before you can then re-lobby again. So I'm moving from town to town in this sort of area to try and do something with. I said I've lobbied this land so I can put the distillery on, but I'm not ready to do that yet until I start generating enough glass, because I need to start shipping coal. So the coal is going one way, it's going from the Livermore coal, and the quartz is coming up from the bottom here, coming up from West Jordan, and that's heading into Novato. And when Novato starts building up its glass, that will then be sent across to Livermore coal, where I will then in turn start generating the whiskey distillery. As you can see with the cash at the top, it's coming on quite nicely. So again, the more you build your towns, the quicker you can build your money. But also remember, you must ensure that you've got your tax available. I mean, we're already in May of this particular year, and we're already up to $1 million for tax purposes. So, you know, it will tick along quite nicely. In fact, we're going to let it run for a bit and see how it goes from there. The final one from staffing point of view is finance, and I've been hiring staff for finance, and the reason why I'm hiring it for finance is that certain members of staff will generate percentages to your favour. So, for example, selling grain at plus 6%. I have now got, I think, 3 members of staff that are selling grain at a better profit, which gives you an extra 19% in grain. I've got commodity costs of wood is gone down by 9%. Steel is 6%, although I'm not at steel yet. So it is kind of hiring people that will give you the benefit of. So again, selling wood. Yeah, probably could do that, guy. That'll sell the wood a bit better. Cost of iron ore, not using iron ore at the moment. Selling paper, and again, another thing there. Profit from selling paper we can increase, and the cost of wood. So again, but you've got to be careful with your staffing costs on that. So I think if we go into the office and reports, I think if we go into the profit and loss, is it, or the balance sheet? It's profit and loss, I think you'll find. Expenses should come into salaries. We're up to 450,000 for the year, but we are kind of year-to-date profit of 5 million. So it's not even 10%. Okay, so that's quite nice kicking on so far with that. So what else can we do while we're here? Let's have a little scoop around and see where we're at. So Anaheim coal is growing, which means it now needs wood. It's got coal coming in already from Anaheim coal, but it does want the wood. There isn't a lot of wood around here in this area. I got a feeling the nearest logging camp is right up here. There's no natural logging camps. I think this is... No, that's not a logging camp. I think the nearest logging camp is Ovada, which is a bit of a tricky situation at the moment because I don't have any other form of logs at the moment. And again, transporting over distance is not going to help. The only potential way it might help is if there's an overflow of logs going into either Livermore or into Anaheim, and we can start shipping out some of that from there to these towns here, because that Anaheim coal here, you know, the price that we can get is something like nearly 10,000, but we don't have a great deal of kind of logging camps around, unfortunately, which is a shame. But never mind, you know, we work with what we've got. Oil refinery here, again, they're building up, so you've got to consider at some point to start doing passenger trains as well, to see where that is. But again, you can play the ghost train trick, where you just put a train in the station, give it the same location, you know, start and end, same destination, and just click away and let it run through, and it'll just run through until you run out. I think, in fact, if I go to... which one? There's one of them that's on hold at the moment for doing exactly that. Here we go here. So Livermore, they have got, if I come out of here, so they've got in, like we call the surplus, they've got 18 and 13. So basically, if I divide that by 6, that's 3, and divide that by 6 is just over 2. So it's 3 and 2 in one train. So basically what I'm doing is I'll just resume that. And what you're doing is you're then feeding those passengers back into the city. Now, one thing I have noticed as well, which isn't actually obviously doesn't work in this situation, and this will happen when the passenger trains start to kind of come to effect, is it wasn't on there before, but on the winter map you didn't have this, but on the autumn map you've got price per 100 kilometers, which basically means that you get money for transporting passengers. You didn't in the winter map. So I'm not going to get any money from this, but what it will do is it will increase the number of people, because it says here basically you're having a population effect of plus 20 for every time you use one. So every 10 seconds the town will use one of these, and it will generate an extra 20 population. So let's turn the ghost train off. There we go for now, and away you go. Again, you can see there's a lot of trains that are in this station So again, you look on here, waiting for a free track. So even with the extra tracks being set up, they are still waiting to leave. So, you know, you then got to consider, well, do we consider potentially then going further afield, going around the long way, which then sort of defeats the object? Okay, let's check on the research, as we should be able to start. Still another 20 odd days before we can do that. Okay, that's fine, not a problem. Let's look into the warehouse. So this warehouse is starting to fill up quite quickly. We've still got a lot of flour that's not being utilised. So for example here, this flour mill is full up with flour. We've already got bread factory in place. So I think what we need to do is to probably try, no, that's at maximum. So we can't even increase that any further. We've got the maximum factory size because I've been upgrading level 3s. So we're not going to get any more bread out of the flour that's there. The only potential thing to do is, I mean, as it is, I'm set a limit of how much flour goes into the warehouse. So it's never going to go over 125, which is good. Gasoline, I mean, the amount of gasoline that's coming in, and I'm only putting in probably 1 or 2 trains. I think it's, yeah, so I've got a train, 1 train, maybe 2. That's delivering 2 gasoline into it. Now, is this because they... Where is the gas? So gasoline's full up, though. So straight away... And again, I think this is one of the downsides of this game, is that if you're building a city, you'd like to think that the amount required is going to increase. But maybe that's something that will come in a later time. But again, if you look at this town, we're full up with grain, we're full up with coal, meat, flour, gasoline, clothing, bread. So the clothes is obviously the next thing to come in. Books is coming in slowly from other sources. Again, the only thing we haven't got is wood. The logs. The logs aren't coming in because there isn't anything nearby. Look at the geology. So the geology, they're just coming to an end on those. In fact, this one is just about done. This one's got another 14 days because it's slightly more complex. This one's just about done. So what I might do is try and get another geologist in now. One of the best ways to do that is to go to a place with social land. So let's see if I've got a location with social land that's available. Probably not at this moment. Let's just click on some of the others. Industry, social land. Here we go. So I'm going to buy the post-social land, and I'm going to buy a geologist institute. So when you put in an institute, it gives you a level 3 geologist. And there you go. That's now our 3rd geologist for level 3. So that means we can take care. So again, it's found some more oil. Absolutely brilliant. So we're going to have loads of oil going through. So the refineries are going to be kicking off something really big in this area especially. So I've now got 3 level 3 geologists. What do I need for this one? I need 3. So I need 7 members of staff, which I've got, and I've got enough. Right, let's assign the specialists for that. So although it says like it needs 3, 2 and 2, because I've got 3 level 2s, I can use one of those level 2s as a level 1. Brilliant. And that starts exploring this one. Okay. The cotton field, unfortunately, is not generating huge amounts. It's its maximum level. It's every 5 seconds, but there's only 30 in that it can hold at any one time. I've set a limit on my warehouse of 100. In fact, what I might do is I might change that to 150. Buy if I have less than 150 in stock. That means it will start developing more there. This is again slowly ticking over. I think this is already at level 3. No, it's at level 1. So let's upgrade that to level 3. It's going to cost about 1.5 million. but it does mean that it will generate more clothing, or textiles rather, more textiles, and can hold more in the way of cotton, which means I can then sell to the textile factory if they have less than 120 in stock. There you go. And you can see here the clothing here is building up quite nicely. They've got a full list in there. It's very tempting to start thinking whether Arvada needs any clothing. They do. So it's probably a good idea to have a look at the trains we've got in here. That's Pocatello. That's waiting for some wood. So this actually is using all the wood that everybody else wants. Is not generating enough, and the logging camp is as much as it can go. Same with that one. That's all to do with wood. That's all to do with wood. Okay, so what we can do in the meantime is we'll create another train. Not from there, we won't. We'll create it from here. Another locomotive. We are going to get a mogul. And we're going to start from Torrance. And we are going to load up I'm going to do 8 for now. I'm only going to do one train because it can hold 325 tons. So it's just probably just under half. So I could do 16, but that means it quickly gets filled up. Stick it into Arvada. Bang it in their warehouse. Is there anything that Arvada can give us that we don't already have? Let's have a look. So, for example, let's see what Torrance needs and what Arvada can supply. Apart from logs. Furniture. So I don't think it's going to be able to supply anything else. So we'll just stick with that. Where are we? We've got 8. Oh, Torrance has got 9. I don't want Torrance of 9 over 8. There we go. Right, so that train's going to head from Livermore. Also, while you remember when you're doing this, just make sure that if you've got the money available, upgrade your repair shop to the maximum level. It gives you the ability, or gives the city the ability to maintain 3 locomotives at the same time, especially if it is a busy location like these 3 are. So again, there's only 1 here. Let's upgrade that. And again, we're also going to add in some new facilities, cheaper refueling, also faster refueling and faster maintenance. We don't need a train depot. We can probably get away in that case with upgrading the cheaper maintenance to level 2 and the faster maintenance to level 2. Cheaper refueling to level 3. I want to get to no more than, say, 20, because basically that's when you've got room for your power station. You want 4, but I'm leaving 8 just in case. And we'll do the same with Anaheim. Make sure that their station is up to date. It is. It's got 3. And again with this one here, we can probably do the same again. We can upgrade that to, because there's a lot of trains sitting there at the moment waiting. Cheaper maintenance up to level 3. Faster maintenance up to level 3. We're going to also add in cheaper fuel. And we're also going to add in faster fuel. So again, remember, there's a lot to deal with each town and city that you're looking at, which is why I've gone back to focus into local areas. And as the game goes on, I will be expanding more. But if you, for example, I'm going to look and see what we've got in the way of availability and logs. So, yeah, you can see here we've got Arvada. There's also a logging camp over here for Oxnard. So that logging camp is full up at the moment. It's filling its tank, but it's also full up. There is no point me expanding that. I've got nowhere to send it at the moment. Because I'm not ready to. And I also have College Town in exactly the same position. So you might have seen occasionally an alert that says that College Town is full up, and so is our Oxnard. And that's because I'm with only the 3 available logging areas. This logging camp is having to feed all of these, and we'll probably find that these 2 will then split the rest. So College Town is full. There's nothing for it to go into because literally it's filling up to the brim, but there's nowhere for it to go. It literally is full up. But it is, towns are growing, but it's just that point there. So that is the only issue we have there. I'm pretty certain when it comes to geology that logs isn't one of those ones that's picked up. No, it is potentially those 5 only. That's the only 5 that you can do on there. So this little square has been done. That one is yet to be done. Well, we'll do that when that's finished. And we'll move more towards the north and try and get these bits at a time. So that's pretty much it, I think, for today. I think let's just have a quick look down and see how Novato is doing with regards to the glass. It's filling up quite nice. We're over 100 in glass, so in that case let's start buying the glass in the warehouse. Set up a rule. This is the double rule, so if I have less than 100 and they have more than 0, I'm going to put them straight into the warehouse. And then the train that's going to come down from Livermore Coal to Novato will then go back with glass. We're now able to put my whiskey distillery in. Confirm that's in place. I don't upgrade it at the moment, purely and simply because there's a lot of money I've just forked out for. But what I can do is I'm going to expand this warehouse to the maximum level available, and I'm also going to put in a rule for whiskey. Set up a rule. Basically, if I have less than both storages, if I have less than, let's go with 75, and they have more than 0, the whiskey will come back in that way. I need to start selling glass, so come back out of there. So I'll be selling glass as well. So the glass, set up the glass to sell to the distillery. If they need to have 30, so set up a rule of 30. So if they have less than 30, send the glass to them. And I also need to do the same with this. Sell to them if they have less than 60. So the glass is the grain is already going to go across, which is going to severely, thankfully, cut out what I've got. But in the meantime, let's see if the train's gone through. It's heading down. There we go. It's going to Novato from Livermore, which basically means that I can start now load up the whiskey. So let's load up what we've got. 2, 3. We'll just do 4 for now, and then we'll unload that into the warehouse. And then hopefully on its way back, it's unloading the core. It should now It should now be able to load in the whiskey bottles. Not whiskey bottles. Silly boy. Glass. So supply glass and unload the glass. Whiskey's the other end. There we go. I'm preempting myself. So it's having regular maintenance. So actually, let's just upgrade that to put 2 locomotives at the same time, and also faster maintenance. And then hopefully that train, it's going to have its regular maintenance done, which it has. It's loading the glass, and away we go. And same applies on here. We've now got clothing in place in relation to being able to send that back across here, so we do need to send that. I'm thinking we may need eventually another warehouse in this town, but let's look at the Livermore Coal. Right, that's already dispatching that, but it is also loading the coal, so actually I can load up not only coal, because it's only moving one piece of coal at a time now, because I was overrun with coal. Let's just check, actually, before we go any further, let's just check to make sure that we don't need any more coal. We are running quite nicely with the coal we've got. That's fine. So we don't need any more coal. What we will do is we will load up the whiskey when it's done. Sorry, clothing rather. Overloaded. That may be because I need to unload this bit as well. So unload the warehouse. Clothing. Yeah, I've got to do it one at a time. That's fine. I'll do that there. Unload clothes. Oh no, actually I know why. It's because basically... Oh, that's fine. That should be okay. Right, unload the clothing. 3. And then load the clothing. Yeah, we're still within. That's perfect. There is a way of dealing with it. In fact, there's even a better way of dealing with it. And that is to upgrade the train. So we're going to upgrade to a mogul. So let's just whiz number 23. I think 22 is the other one that's being... 22... 23 is being done. 22 has also been done. So both of them will be done eventually. Let's see them both return. 23 is just bringing coal. 22 is the one that's bringing the clothing. Here we go. And I think really what will happen is that once we've got most of these full up and running, so for example tools, sausage, a regular passenger and mail distribution, things like that, once we've got all this kicking in, we will probably then move to the next town, so like Anaheim, and let them build up as well. Now that should come into here. Does it go straight into... Right, yes, so I haven't set up a clothing one yet, or have I? So clothing coming in. Yes, I haven't yet set it to sell to town. So sell to town, check if they've got less than 30. And sell that back in. $162,000 for each of that clothing. Very lucrative at the end of it. Okay, so this time to bring it to a close on this occasion. I hope you've enjoyed this very brief video for today, or briefish video anyway. But just kind of, it's just reiterating how sometimes it can get away from you, and maybe it is good to concentrate on certain areas at certain times. You play it as you see fit, but it's just trying to see where you feel that you're comfortable with, and it's good to set up with the geology. Try and set them up straight away or as close as you can. I mean, it's like with this one here, this clay. I will need to start using that clay for pottery, It's not far away from this one, which is I'm trying to think which town that is. That's Flower Mound. So Flower Mound could be our pottery location to start kind of developing, and then obviously move it that way. The faster the trains become, and the more, when you get electrified trains and more to carry, then it'll be quicker to move trains between stations. But it's just kind of planning where you're going to move your clay, for example, or your quartz. I haven't, planned quartz to mine yet. So, it's utilising them as quick as you can, because they will build quite quickly. I mean, I'd imagine the quartz one is going to be, if I go back to the geology again, this was the coal. I imagine the quartz one is going to be literally just around here. So it's going to be a stone's throw away. It's probably going to be in this area here, at a guess. That's where the quartz mine will be. So you will be a literally stone throw away from the town. So, but again, it is kind of one of those things that if you can keep hold of, or keep an eye on where you're at in certain locations, your starting point, make sure that your research is continued all the way through. Soon you get to electrification, the better. And then you can then let the staff go, because you won't need them anymore. Same with the geology. Once the geology has all been done, no point keeping them. Just one moment, not bother, pay the wages of someone you're not going to use. And that's really it, really. Okay, so what I'm going to do off screen, I'll do some more work to try and build up these towns locally, with the view of expanding and getting clay into usage. So I think the clay will probably be around here somewhere. In fact, look at this. Pottery factory. So the clay, I'd imagine, is going to be here. So we won't even need a pottery factory. We can just do it that way, and away it goes. Or we can have two. Doesn't matter. So the pottery factory will fund that way, and that pottery factory will fund that way. But we'll see how it goes from there. As usual, if you've got any questions or any hints and tips yourself, please put in the comment section below. I hope you've enjoyed today's video, and I'll see you on the next installment of Railroad Corporation. Thanks for watching.